The long-standing rumor of Hydra joining Clayster in New York, playing for the Subliners, is officially true. As we go ahead and look at this tweet from the New York Subliners, they say the French Phenom comes to New York. Welcome Hydra to the Ambox family. Hail Hydra, New York Subliners, with a little bit of a montage here, but Hydra is officially going to New York. Just to kind of go through a little bit reaction, we'll talk about what it all means. But this is from Hydra himself. He says, very excited to announce that I'm joining the Subliners. Proud to be part of such an amazing organization with Ambox official. And then he also says it in French. Obviously, he's from France. We get some reaction from Clayster, and this is something that I also want to touch on, but Clayster says, I've long been a fan of giving up and giving long been a fan of giving up. Long being a fan of giving up and coming talent a shot to make it in the big leagues. Definitely some things we're going to have to work on, but I'm confident Hydra is going to be a beast. Hope the scene starts opening more doors more often. Viva la France. So I just want to remind you guys real quick that 2 years ago, he brought up, or at least had, the mentoring of Simp and Abizi. Last year, he had Shotzi and Illy, who were both rookies. Shotzi, of course, went on to win the Modern Warfare MVP. And then this year, I know it's a little bit different because Matt came in like halfway through the year, but I would still consider him to be maybe not a rookie, but like a partial rookie. And then he's having Hydra come in. So we'll see what Clayster is able to do with Mac and Hydra in his new collection of super talented rookies. We also have some reaction here from Zuma that says, welcome to the team, you animal. So it's official. Hydra is going to the New York Subliners. For me personally, if you're not following me on Twitter, you can see it down underneath right there at IconNationYT. My personal reaction to this is that Hydra to Subliners official. This could be massive for New York and have major implications for the rest of the COD League. Clay gets another elite rookie to take under his wing. Love this storyline. So I don't know. I mean, it's long been talked that maybe Pharaoh would go there, maybe John would go there. Of course, the options were out there. I just love the fact that these franchises are giving young rookies a run to me personally, and it's nothing against anybody. We'll see. Every game is different. You never know who's going to be the best at each game. But when you take some of these pros that have been around for 8-9 years, it just feels like you know what you're getting from them, right? When it comes to Hydra, he was an absolute stud. We'll look at his stats in Modern Warfare in just a second, but to me, when it comes to a ceiling, now, doesn't mean that they'll reach there, but Hydra's skill ceiling could be MVP of the league, just like Shotzi's was. We don't particularly know yet, but the stats from Challengers definitely do support that. As we look at this tweet from CDL Intel, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So his stats in the Challengers, this is from NovusVita_GG. He had a 1.33 KD in domination, and this is across all of Challengers, which put him second in terms of overall KD. He had a 1.23 KD in hardpoint, which put him fifth overall out of every single person that competed in Challengers. And then he had a 1.2 KD in S&D, which put him as ninth. But even more so, you can look at his kills per minute, right? 3 kills per minute basically in hardpoint would put him as second, 2.6 kills per minute in Dom, which put him as second, and then 0.83 kills per round in S&D, which put him at seventh. So the stats are definitely there, right? When he's competing in the Challenger scene, there's no doubt about it that he's one of the most talented people that were in Challengers this year. Again, who knows, like who he was or what his coaching was like. I mean, there's so many different variables that come into it, but when you put him on a squad with probably, I mean, maybe you could say arguably, but to me, I would think Clay is probably the single best mentor in all of Call of Duty to play with. I just think that this is where Clayster flourishes, right? Of course, he's a great AR. He's a vet. He's been around. He knows what he's doing. But to me, he's so good at all of those intangibles, which includes bringing along young talent. Another tweet here just from CDL Intel, a little bit of an update, hearing that Zero is likely London's fourth. That would be a decent story with the collection of EU players that London has put together. Zed could be the substitute, so that would be an interesting storyline. I still wish it was Wuskins and Scraps there, but at least they're continuing with their collection of EU talent. We'll look more at that in a second. And then the second part of this is kind of interesting. It said John could be going to New York. So with Hydra, that gives them 4 out of their 5 players. So what's going to happen with that 5th roster spot? That's kind of what we're referring to here. John could be going to New York. Hydra is definitely here, though. Some say John is there and starting, but I don't think that's the case yet. It's a likely scenario. So if you're New York and if you're Clayster, you bring in this young talent as Hydra. Are you going to start him right away? Or are you going to bring in the vet with John also, who's an absolute beast? We know what we get out of John. He was incredible the last time that we saw him. So would you bring in John, start John to begin with, see how the season goes? Who knows? Maybe they come out, they're a top 3 team and they just ride that roster throughout. Or maybe somebody comes out and, the roles don't quite line up. They need to bring in Hydra. I mean, there's so many options, right? So if John goes there, I think that's a really smart move also for the New York Subliners, which leads me to, this is kind of our collection of teams at the moment that we have right here. Just as we look at this here, we have Atlanta with their 4, Dallas with their 4, Chicago, General as their 5th, Rocker we've talked about countless times, Seattle we did a video of. So as we look down underneath, if we're thinking about New York with Zuma, Mac, Hydra, and Clayster, and potentially John, where does this put them, right? I feel like the whole picture is starting to come together. And the other thing that I'll say is that when you look at these rosters, there are not, at least in my mind, I don't feel like you can say, all right, these are by far the top 3 teams. This is who's going to start off winning the most tournaments, like we could in Modern Warfare, right? When you have 5 people per team and the talent is spread out a little bit more, you can easily look at a collection of talent and say, okay, there's something special going on here at the beginning. These guys are probably going to be top 1, 2, or 3, somewhere in there. I'm not sure that you can really do that so far in 4v4 because every single roster spot on every squad is just stacked with talent, right? I mean, we've talked at ends about what's going on with Atlanta. I think Dallas could probably improve at their AR a little bit, but not like, I mean, Crim's the winningest player of all time, so that's something there. Chicago, see, you start looking for like tiny little question marks. Like when I look at Chicago, what's Dashy going to be like? Because last time we saw him, he was okay in Modern Warfare and Black Ops 4. He was just a turret on the map. I mean, he was a beast. So will we get that Dashy? How committed will he be? I know Hex has said on his podcast that they've had that discussion. So if Dashy is all in, that could be something special there. With Minnesota, a collection of 4 really good players, but roles are a little bit off. So what are those roles going to be like? When you come to Seattle, there are some questions there. How will those SMGs with Pristini and Looney really stack up against the likes of Abizi and Simp and Hugh and Shotzi and Envoy and Scump, right? I mean, there's maybe a little bit of a question mark there. And then when you go underneath and you look at somebody like the New York Subliners, where do they fit in that? Will Hydra put up the same type of numbers that he did in the challenger scene? Will he just be a 0.95 player and just kind of be a little bit mediocre? I mean, we don't really know. So I feel like when you're trying to put these guys in an order, it's tough to say, here's a clear number 1, here's a clear number 3, here's a clear number whatever, right? I mean, it's just tough to do that. So in the comments down below, let me know, what are you thinking at the moment? Do you think that this puts New York in like the top 6? Do you think it puts them in 6 through 12 or 6 through 9? Or I don't know. For me, I think it'll have to be seen. That news from London of being Dylan, Alex, Shawnee, and then potentially Zero. I don't know if that puts them in the top 6, but I think it's a collection of really good talent. We're still don't really know what's going on with Florida in terms of that 4th spot, but we know Awakening, Skies, obviously based off what Awakening did last year, he's a top tier player. There's a ton of question marks out there. What is this, even like a team like Toronto? Where does it put the collection of Kleenex, Bance, Cammy, and Methods? I mean, oh man, it just seems like there's such a collection of talent. It's really tough to see where teams will be at this moment. So in the comments down below, let me know what you're feeling, what you're thinking, maybe a potential power rankings. Maybe after another team or 2 comes out, we'll put up an updated post-roster Mania video with that. So let me know in the comments. If you're new around here, I put out brand new videos every single day breaking down the Call of Duty League, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Leave a like. It helps out the channel. And with that, thank you guys so much. We will see you in tomorrow's upload.